Okay, so we are live on Facebook. Woo!
Hey!
We did it. So welcome Yulin Lee, who is our 2020 wealth trainer for Diamond membership. So welcome Yulin. Please introduce yourself. Tell everyone who you are.
Okay, well, thank you. Well, so it's such an honor to be picked as the trainer for the year, for the coming year. And just a little bit about my background. I started out my career as a software engineer. So I was a computer science major and I worked in high tech for 12 years, like most people in the Silicon Valley. So I've worked at companies like Adobe, Microsoft. I started as a software engineer, but very quickly I realized I'm a people person. You know, I can't just spend all my day in front of a computer talking to the computer. So very quickly, I went back to school and got my MBA degree. And then from that, I moved into product marketing. So 12 years later, I finally decided I want to do something different because I've always had a passion for investing in real estate. And so back in 2002, that's when I decided I'm going to just go do something my own. And I decided to become a lender, doing real estate financings. And so that's kind of really how I got on this path of being in the financial world. So I was doing that for about 10 years, and most of my clientele, I specialize working with investors, you know, because to me, how you buy something, how you structure that deal, that's all about how to, you know, make this deal work, right? And part of what I was teaching my clients is also about just because you have, let's say $500,000 to put down on a house, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's all you have to put in. And so there's a lot of analysis going on in the background is where is that optimal point in structuring the deal. And so that's what, what really, that's my passion, and that's what I really love doing. And during that 10 years period, I joined a company that was both a mortgage banker and a wealth management company. And so through them, I started getting training on the wealth management side of things, and I got all my security licenses, and that's how I became a financial advisor. And so it was a boutique wealth management company in Palo Alto. So that's been my career background. And then 2011, my husband had the opportunity to work in Paris. So we packed up, everything, we moved the kids, so we just got out of here. And so we lived in Paris for 4 years. And during that time, at some point in midway, I decided that I want to do something else again, do something that's really for my own passion. And I've also been very fortunate that I have been in this place where I no longer need to work for money. And that's, again, that's where I'm coming from. So I really want to bring more women onto this journey, to this path of creating that financial independence for women and really live out the life and do what they choose to do and not, having to do something because you have to put food on the table.
Right.
And so that's how I started my coaching business, when I was actually in Paris. And so I've been loving it. And my goal as a coach, that's different from being a financial advisor. As a financial advisor, I was managing people's assets. But the reason I decided I want to be a coach is because I saw a lot of challenges and issues with how people deal with money on the day-to-day basis. Mm-hmm. And I feel that was the gap that I would love to fill, and because not that many people are addressing it. So in a nutshell, that's my background, and that's what I do as a financial coach, is helping women transform their financial lives.
Yeah. So how do you how do you see yourself helping and supporting the Diamond members as the financial and wellness or financial and wealth coach for the 2020 season?
Right. So my personal philosophy around this whole managing finances, building wealth, is that I take a very much of a kind of an integrative approach. Mm-hmm. I really feel there's two pieces of this puzzle. One is the mindset work, that we really have to get clear about where we are in relation to our money and how because our habits, our behaviors are really driven by our internal psychology around money. And so that's the foundational piece that's very critical in really improving and transforming your lives. Now, on the other hand, if you just only stay in that mindset work and working on law of attraction and all of that great stuff, but if that's only what you do, then the problem is you're always going to be living the la la land, right? You're attracting wealth into your life, but if you don't have the specific skills or habits to managing them well, then it's one hand in and one hand out. And that's what creates this feast and famine cycle. And that's true for a lot of business owners. And so it's really, so my plan is to help the Diamond members to both really get a clarity on their relationship with money and how to rewrite their money stories. But at the same time, what are the specific skill sets and the practices that you need to implement in your business so that, when you integrate those two, that's where magic happens.
Right. Oh, that's so awesome. I'm so excited to have you. So I printed out your syllabus for the 2020 season, and I love it. Like, I am really excited about it. I kind of have a weird relationship with money. I used to be afraid of money. And so I love that, the first lesson is about understanding your money personality. Because I think we all have different relationships with money based on our upbringing, how our families used money. And, my husband and I are very different money people. And I see why is because of how he was raised, and then mine is very different because of how I was raised. So I feel like there's as entrepreneurial women, we carry those values and the things that we learned into our businesses. And sometimes that's not a good thing. And we've got a lot of work to do.
That's right.
I was chatting with a dot this morning who is putting together this really great program, and it was like, I could charge like $200. I'm like, no, like, but she has this insecurity that people, the worth and her value, insecurity and confidence and things like that. So I just see it's such an important need that entrepreneurial women have of how to feel valued, to be paid what we're worth, but not feeling like we're settling or getting cut short because we don't believe in ourselves, that we don't believe that we're worth more money. Or we even had a really interesting discussion about, well, I don't really need the money. So we figured out a goal, I have grandkids and I would love to be able to put money aside for them. So it's like, great, now she has something to look forward to instead of saying, well, I don't really need the money, so I don't really need to charge people because I don't really need the money.
Right. And I bet you there's probably some other stories behind that statement, right?
Oh yeah.
And so absolutely. And that's definitely, the foundational piece, like I mentioned earlier, is that we've got to set ourselves up for success. And that's part of, really kind of digging deeper into our foundational piece and to see where we are and then say how can we rewrite those stories. And absolutely, I mean, all of my clients I work with, we always they come in with different symptoms of challenges that they're facing today, but honestly almost all of them always traces back to something happened in their childhood or how they grew up that created that, what we call the key decision in their head, and that they don't even know it's being in there for all these years and they've been carrying it. And I love this work. It's a lot of fun, and it's very eye-opening.
Yes, and I love number 6. It's not how much you make, it's how much you keep.
Yeah, yeah. That is so true. And, when I first started building my coaching business, I went, obviously I went to networking a lot and try to get my name out and build a clientele base. And that was the one thing I noticed with a lot of entrepreneur women is that they're so talented at what they do, but managing their business finance is a completely different ballgame, right? From their talent.
Mhm.
And oftentimes, they focus on the sales piece, they focus on the marketing piece, like how do I bring in more customers, how do I do more marketing? And it's great, it is important, but at the same time we need to look at the back end and say how our expenses are aligning or maybe not aligning with the income that we bring in. And that's part of that cash flow management that I teach
Yeah.
my clients who are business owners.
Right.
So, yeah.
So that brings us into a really great question. So Molly, who's watching right now, she said hello to us. She had a question
Mhm.
about responsible business debt.
Yeah.
And is it okay to have debt in your business? And how do you decide whether or not to have debt or to get paid?
Right.
That was kind of the question that I was seeing from her. So how would you answer that?
Yeah. So, maybe I'll start by just backtracking a little bit and just kind of talk about good debt, bad debt in general, right? A good debt is what I consider like mortgages. They're good debt because by taking on the mortgage, it allows me to get into a real estate, get into a house that I can both live in, but in the long run, actually builds equities, it's an asset building tool for you, right? So that's how I consider it as a good debt. Now, the bad debt obviously are the credit card debts, right? And so I'm one of those people, I have never, ever carried any credit card debts. Just because again, that's go back to kind of the habits and the lifestyle philosophies of spending money that you don't have. And so for me, if I don't have the money in the bank, I don't charge it. I just don't buy it. Now, on the other hand, I also want to play with bank's money. So if I get a one month free money, because your billing cycle comes in the next month, right?
Right.
So if I can get a 30-day interest-free money to flow to help with my cash flow, I'll take it any day.
Mhm.
So it's not about not using the credit card, but really using it to your own advantage.
Right.
So credit card debts are things that are considered bad debts. So if you think about, is it good, bad, good or bad, it's really, is it a tool that helps me increase and build my assets, or is it something that it's really depleting my assets? Because for all the compounding interest you're paying, it is really depleting whatever assets or savings you have.
Right.
So that's really in general. Now, in the business setting, it's really kind of the same philosophy or same theory applies, is in that let's say if you have a particular business that require a particular equipment, something that allows you to bring income. And instead of shelling out cash now, you take on a loan and you have a very specific plan to pay that back, then that's not a bad thing. That's part of cash flow management. And what I like to talk about is how to use other people's money, right? And to your advantage. And when I say other people's money, I'm talking about banks, right? And so instead of being slave to them and paying all these extra income that they're collecting on you, and it's part of it is understanding, if I were to take on this loan, what is going to be my payment plan? How does that fit into my overall cash flow on a month-to-month basis? Now, if you have all of those in place, then I say, yeah, let's do it. I would save my cash for something else. Now, part of it also is it has to be, depending on what the interest rate is. If it's a super expensive interest, then, we have to look at it differently. But assuming if it's a reasonable interest, then sometimes, as a business, you do need that cash flow. You do need to keep that liquidity. Now, on the other hand, I have had clients who are business owners, and they really don't pay attention to their business finance. They're out there looking for the next sales solution or marketing solution. So they're signing up for courses here and there and there. They're signing up for web services. They're signing up for that. and they're spending without really knowing how much they're spending. Those are the cases where it's that, no, those are bad debt that you are bringing on into the business, right? And so again, it's, you know, whether it's a good or bad, I think it's a function of, do you have a specific plan for paying them back and how that relates to bringing in income, right? Versus I'm just spending on something hoping that will help me to get the next sales.
Right.
And I mean, I've had clients, you know, who maxed out on their business card, and then now they're like, oh my God, now what, right? And so part of avoiding that pitfall is to have, you know, what I talk about in the personal finance is to have a budget. Right. And so that same practice is, you know, applies in the business where you do projections of your revenue and you align your expenses with your revenue, and to make sure that you're not spending outside the realm. Yeah.
One of the things when you mentioned, you know, personal, I love that there's, you know, number 9 is how to talk about money with your kids. I think as, you know, entrepreneurs, well, even as parents, sometimes we assume that finances are being taught in school. And a lot of time, you know, my son's almost a senior. He's a senior this year in high school. And my daughter is 22. So we've kind of learned, like, what did she learn about money and how did she learning to budget and really being, oh my God, right? Like we need to have those money conversations with our kids. I never had money conversations with my parents. You know? And it's so critical. And so I'm so excited that there is this topic so that, you know, I can learn how to set my son up for success.
Exactly.
You know, so it's not only for mine, but for my kids too. Like, it's so important. So I'm so glad that that's going to be one of your topics, because it can't just all be about business. Like, it has to work for the whole, like as a whole, your whole family dynamic, and the business is a part of it, but it all has to flow and integrate together.
Right. And again, you know, I love to talk about money. I love, you know, topics about making money, but it's not really for the money's sake, right? It's really about how can that change and improve my life? And my life involves other people, involves family, involves friends, and involves all the things that you want to do in this world. So yeah, definitely.
Awesome. I'm so excited. So you've been a Diamond member for how long now? For a year?
Yeah.
So what made you join Diamond last year?
So for me, there were 2 main reasons. One is more tactical and one is more, I guess, strategic. So the first reason is because I became the managing director for the Palo Alto chapter at the end of last year. And so that's around the same time when the Diamond membership was open. And to be honest, I was also kind of new to PDP in general, right? So I was literally going all in, not only like participating, becoming active, but took on the MD role. And so for me, I just felt like I need to be a Diamond member so I can actually talk to my members about what it is and to share my own experience, right? And so that's more of a tactical reason. It was just like, yeah, well, I'm the MD, I'm gonna do it, and so I can tell people, you know, what it is through my own experience.
Yeah.
The more strategic reason was more of, you know, if I take off my MD hat and think about there are over 3,600 members, right, in the community. I would love to connect with as many dot sisters as I can, you know, beyond my own chapter, but there's only so much time and energy I have, right? So how do I be more strategic in who do I want to, you know, connect with? And the one thing I always remember is your success to some level is a function of who you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
And so to me, those members who have committed investing in themselves and wanting to take their business to the next level, then, you know, as a first year active member for PDP, that was a draw for me, is I want to be associated and get to know those members who are also playing at that level. So that was the reason why I joined.
Yeah. So what has been have you had any really great aha moments or experiences within Diamond that really resonated with you this year?
You know, I'll talk about maybe some of the lessons I learned.
Great.
When I first joined, and again, I was going all in. I, you know, was on the call for the first couple of months. I did a lot, but I did find myself dropping off later on in the year. And I think I fell into that trap of overwhelm. So my advice for all of the members out there who are considering a Diamond membership is that to really be strategic at the beginning of the year. And, you know, with the journal coming out, I think that's really, or the planner, that's really going to help people to put the focus. So instead of trying to absorb all that there is, because there's a lot, right? And so to avoid falling into that overwhelm trap, and then it's like, oh, I can't deal with anything, right? So to avoid that is to really be strategic and look at the 6 trainers, and I think Chris said that yesterday too, is to really look at those 6 trainers and say, which area, maybe pick 2 or 3 at most, which areas are the most needed for me in my business today, right? And just, you know, put those trainings on your calendar, and so it's not too overwhelming, right? You have 2 or 3 at most to deal with, and then you can evaluate that on a quarterly basis.
Yes.
Because your business does change, right? You know, throughout the year you have seasonalities and you have different needs, and so that would be my advice, learning from my own mistakes, right? Is instead of going all out and then boom, a big crash, and is to really plan us more of a steady stream of activities, and then really taking on what's most relevant to you at the moment in your business.
I agree 100%. So my first year of Diamond, I was like, oh my God, what did I just sign up for? How am I going to fit all this into my calendar? There was 10 trainers, right? 10 trainers. And I was like, oh Lord, it was too much. And I was like you, I was like, nope, I'm overwhelmed. When you're overwhelmed, you just check out and you do nothing.
That's right.
And so I had to say, wait a second, what I'm supposed to be, like, I paid for this.
Right.
I paid to be in this group. I need to, you know, take a step back. And so I set up a connect with the MD and said, help me understand how to use Diamond to support myself and my business. And so together we curated a plan, and I was like, oh, now I get it. I don't have to do all the trainings.
That's right.
Oh, that made me feel so much better, because I thought I had to do it all, and it made me want to do none of it. So, you know, as you know, one of the things that with the planner, which I'm really excited about, is that it will allow the members to really be intentional and to be strategic and say, what do I need to focus on right now? And knowing that, okay, maybe I need to focus on my money, and maybe I need to focus on my mindset for the first quarter, right? And then it doesn't mean I can't go back though. And if something comes up in my business where I'm like, oh man, I need to figure out a new marketing strategy right now, I can go and watch a recording while I'm driving in the car and listening to Katrina talk about a marketing strategy that I might want to implement. So it's just being strategic about your time and knowing, not putting yourself in overwhelm. Because otherwise I'd be a full-time Diamond member and never have time to actually run a business.
Right. Yeah. But also, and remember that even if you can, and that's kind of how I did it in the last few months, is even though I can't, you know, be on the live call all the time, I do find moments, you know, little breaks in my days where I would just go watch the replay, right? So, and it's really nice that it's all there. And so it doesn't have to be all or nothing kind of deal.
Right. You're a grown up and you get to decide what you want to show, where you want to show up, right?
That's right.
So, So just to kind of give those that are watching a little more information if they would like to just kind of learn about what's going on. So we actually have a couple of opportunities coming up for folks. On next Monday, the 28th, which is when Diamond opens, we'll be having a virtual open house where people can come and ask questions, get more information, and decide if they think it's a good fit for them. So that open house is limited to 100 people though, because that's how many people my Zoom allows. And so it'll just be a great opportunity, but we have some additional opportunities for people to learn more about Diamond. We have our Diamond trainer panel Q&A coming up on November 6th, which will feature our current trainers, and people can ask them questions and learn more about leadership and other topics. And then we have our Business Connect that we're opening up to all polka dots on November 12th. That's 8:30 a.m. Pacific time, 10:30 Central. And that's going to be a fun opportunity for people to see what it's like to come on a Business Connect in Diamond. So I'm really excited about those opportunities. And our season officially begins December 1st. So, but we'll keep it open. The enrollment will be open until we reach our 300 capacity of members. And so as we get new members, they'll get some presents in the mail. They're going to get a cute little a Shine Bright pin, which is really cute. It's in a little, you can kind of see it there.
Ooh.
Right?
Yeah.
And then they're going to get the planner, which will be, I'm so excited about it because it's a way to keep notes, but to also, if you have goals that you really want to focus on, and gives you an opportunity to be strategic about it. So you have one big giant goal maybe, and then you need a monthly, what am I going to do this month? Well, then break that down. What am I going to do this week? And
that's right. And you have everything in one place.
Yes.
Yeah.
And opportunity to take notes about the trainers, take notes in the masterminds, take notes on everything. So instead of having 15 notebooks, like someone I know, it's all in one convenient place. So I'm really excited about that.
Right. And then I think one last thing I would like to add to that is Diamond membership is just like anything else. At the end of the day, what you get out of it is what you put in.
Absolutely. It is not a magic pill.
Right, exactly.
It's what are you, like, it's a commitment, and it's what are you willing to commit to, and what results do you want to get, and what are you willing to do in order to get those results? Because we can lead a horse to water, but we can't make them drink it, right?
That's right. And being that money person, I will just say, if we break that cost down, on the annual basis, it's $700. So we're talking about less than $60 a month, right? So where do you get coaching? But if you want, you can get coaching from 6 different trainers for $60 a month.
I know, and it's actually would be less if they are a current dot. We will prorate it for what they've already invested in Polkadot. So we'll find out what that investment total is on October 28th when it opens. But so I'm just super excited. We're gonna have a great season.
Yeah, me too. I'm very excited to be part of that.
Awesome. Well, let's see, I'm going to look at some of the comments and see if there's any questions that came through while we were chatting. So let's see here. Oh, wow. So Robin had a really great comment. She says she saw her parents lose hundreds of thousands of dollars in investments. So she's scared to invest, but hates earning only 1% in the bank. So it's a catch-22. And I know there's a whole thing in here. Where is it? Which one? Investing 101, number 8. So Robin, she's going to talk about investing.
Right. A lot of those fear comes from really not knowing, that lack of clarity. And so I used to teach classes on how to evaluate investment properties. And so if you go through the process and the steps of analyzing it, so when you have the data in front of you, then it's less scary. Yeah. Right. So you are not really making complete decisions based on your emotional feelings, right? So you have data to back that. And I think a lot of that fear really, again, comes from not knowing clearly.
Right.
And that's what I'm going to break down. And so what are the key things you need to look at when you're looking at investments?
Right. Oh, so important. Let's see here. Oh, got some great comments. So Molly and Robin are super excited. So yay.
Yay.
So we are let's see here. We have been on for 30 minutes, so we are good. And if anyone has any questions for myself or for Yulin, feel free to put them in the comments, and we'll be in there answering questions and doing our best to make sure that you get your questions answered. So
yeah, absolutely. Feel free to ping me, reach out to me, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Awesome. So thank you again, Yulin, for your time today. It's really exciting to get to know you better and to learn more about what you're going to bring to Diamond. So super excited. I can't even.
Yeah, me too.
I know. It's like I'm scared for Monday, but excited for Monday all at the same time.
Yay!
It's going to be great. So thank you again.
Okay. Thank you.
See you later, guys.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.